This is Health Tidbits on Ghana Districts TV, and we are here to have interaction session with Dr. Eric Asore Ada, who is the head of medical services at the community hospital in Ashoman Estate. And he will be speaking to us about the novel coronavirus and the new and dangerous Delta variant that is said to have been recorded in the country.
Coronavirus or COVID-19 is an infectious respiratory illness. It's caused by a new virus called the SARS-CoV-2 virus. It's a new virus. The history dates back to 2019, somewhere in Wuhan, where this virus was first isolated. And from 2019 till today, it's been with us. We are battling as a world to curb this pandemic. The signs and symptoms are typically respiratory. The examples of some of the symptoms would be cold, cough, fever, bodily pains, sore throat, But these symptoms, as time goes on, are also evolving, they are changing. Because depending on the variants that you might be infected with, the symptoms might differ. But typically, all the symptoms are usually of respiratory origin. But these days, we are seeing some atypical presentations, where you have people who are having some atypical symptoms and testing positive for coronavirus. So you want to be particular about cough, fever, sore throats, bodily pains. The basic steps or the basic measures that have been put in place by the WHO, like I said, is the hand washing protocol, enhancing our infection prevention controls, giving social distance, and then ensuring that we all wear our face masks. Because if you are covered in your face mask and someone has an acute presentation of any respiratory illness, if they are sneezing or they are coughing, it's not likely that droplets will be inhaled by the next person who stays, at a distance. And so the measures that have been put in place by the WHO, the hand washing protocols, the mask wearing, the use of hand sanitizers, and the social distance, these are what we have to ensure. Because the viruses, it's a learning curve for the world. COVID is a learning curve for the world, all scientists in the world. Every day we are learning something new from COVID. Every day we are learning something new from COVID. And so what we can do to prevent the Delta variant, or any other variant for that matter, is to ensure that we stick to the protocols that have been outlined by the World Health Organization. So far, we have more than 8 variants. Yes. And the nomenclature or the naming of these variants is usually done by specialized bodies in consultation with the World Health Organization. There are classifications of the variants. The WHO classifies them as variants of concern, variants of interest, and then variants of severe consequences. So there are 3 classifications by the WHO. Now the variants of consequence, severe consequence, we haven't had any variants yet under that. But variants of concern, we have about 4 different variants there. And so the nomenclature or the naming of these variants is basically based on Greek alphabets. So we have alpha variant, beta variant, gamma variant, delta variant. These 4 variants are classified under variant of concern. What that means is that these mutated variants or these variants, are something that we are trying to understand, and it's of concern to us. Now we have the variants of interest too. The variants of interest are usually not so much of concern to us like the VOC or the variants of concern. And so these are the broad categorizations by the WHO. And like I said, there are 4 different variants under variants of concern. Alpha, beta, gamma, and delta. These 4 are classified under variants of concern. And the WHO is doing all it can in support with all the countries under the WHO to try to curb the spread of these variants. Now, the new Delta variant, what science knows about it is that we tend to have what we call an immune system as human beings. And so when we get any infection, our immune system tries to fight the infection, for instance. We have immune cells that are constantly swallowing all infections in our system and clearing our system, so to speak. Now, science has realized, these are scientists in India who have studied the Delta variant because it was very predominant in their population. What they tend to say is that the Delta variant tends to bind to our cells. Okay? So when it binds to our cells, what happens is that it confuses the soldiers or the immune cells in your body, because the immune cells are the soldiers. And so the soldiers are able to identify what is their own and then the foreign stuff. Now, if a virus comes into your system, it's foreign. So ideally, the soldiers should see it as a foreign body and then kill it or swallow it. But what is happening is that the virus is entering into our cells and hiding itself as part of us. So the immune cells are not able to pick it up. So they are able to cause more disease. Because once you have the virus coming in and it stays as a virus, the immune cell will pick it up and therefore you recover. But if the virus goes into your cell and then behaves like part of you and the soldiers are not able to identify it, then it becomes difficult. You have it replicating more and more and more in the body and therefore can result in severer disease. That is the teaching, or that is the research about the Delta variant. So these days, India was the country that had the predominant Delta variant, and they have a lot of literature about the Delta variant. It's said that the Delta variant for younger people presents as a bad cold. What that means is that patients or younger people just have like a fever, a cough, running nose, and a little bit of maybe blocked nostrils. And it's a bad cold. It persists for a long time. And then they tend to think that it's a cold they're having. But because of the infectious nature of this disease, if they don't stay away from the general population, what happens is that they keep on infecting other people. Now, the younger people might have an immune system that is able to stand it and might not develop severe disease. But the elderly people and the people who have other comorbidities, i.e. hypertension, diabetes, and other related comorbidities, might tend to develop severe symptoms and then might ultimately die from it. COVID is a learning curve. We have a vaccine currently we are giving out. But WHO says that even after you have taken the vaccine, you should still stick to all the outlined protocols. That is because the vaccine might not prevent you from contracting the virus. But what the vaccine will do is that the vaccine will prevent you from developing severe disease. It is severe disease that will ultimately result in death. Death of the patient.
Dr. Ada cautioned Ghanaians to observe all necessary protocols to avoid contracting coronavirus or even the more deadly Delta variant.
Let's all stick to the outlined protocols. This is the best way we can kill. Having a vaccine is no guarantee that you will not contract the disease. If you have any signs of cold, stay at home. Because like I said, most of the variants these days, they have atypical presentations. They come like a severe or bad cold, and then people still walk around. So if you have a cold, try to stay at home. Don't mix around with the general population so that we can help to curb the spread of COVID-19.
Thank you, Dr. Asori Ada, for this amazing insight on the various variants of coronavirus. And thank you, my wonderful viewers, for watching Ghana District TV. For more information on news and health tidbits, visit www.ghanahospitals.org. I am Mawena Wakate. Thanks for watching.